Hello everyone. In this video, we are going to write the equation of a circle given the endpoints of a diameter. Going back to the standard equation of a circle, so I'm going to put that up here. So this is the standard equation of a circle, x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. We can see from this equation that there are two important information that we need to have at hand in order that we can write the equation of a circle, or in order that we can write the standard equation of a circle. First, we need to have the center. The center is represented as hk, and we need to have the radius. Now, going back to the problem that we have here, it says that we will be given the two endpoints of the diameter. Going back to the definition of the diameter, diameter is a line segment that comes from one end of the point is on the circle, and then it goes to the other point, which is also on the circle. But the thing is, it passes through the center. So that's the diameter, one end to the other end on the circle, but it passes through the center. So pretty much like the center is the midpoint of the two points of endpoints of the diameter. So let's have an example to better see how this kind of problem works. So we are asked for the equation of a circle if the endpoints of the diameter are located at -2, -5, and 4 and -5. So these are the endpoints of the diameter. So again, we go back to the definition of the circle. We need to have the center and we need to have a radius. There's no center for this because these are endpoints of the diameter, but we can find the center between these 2 points by using the midpoint equation. So this is the midpoint formula. So this, in order that we can use this equation, we first, again, these are the endpoints of the diameter. We need to find what's in between these 2 points. So I'm just going to go ahead and write these 2 points here so we can label it. So in the first step, so there are 2 steps actually, so I put them separately. So we're doing the first step right now. So in the first step, we need to have these points, the endpoints of the diameter. So that would be -2 and -5. And then the other end is we have 4 and -5. So these are the 2 endpoints. Again, our target here is to find the middle of these 2 points, which is the center of the circle. And we need that in order that we can write the equation of the circle. So here we are going to label this as this is x sub 1 and y sub 1. This is x sub 2, y sub 2. So I labeled it x sub 1, y sub 1, x sub 2, y sub 2. Now we are going to plug these values into this expression that we have here. So we have x sub 1 is -2, so I'm just going to write -2 plus x sub 2 is 4 over 2, and then we have y sub 1 is -5. And then y sub 2, that's a plus. So plus y sub 2 is -5. That is over 2. So then we simplify this. This would come out +2 over 2. And then this one right here would be -10 over 2. So then the midpoint of this diameter, or these endpoints here of the diameter, is 1 and -5. This is actually our centers. Again, this is the center of the circles. I'm gonna label that as letter C. That's the center of the circle, because we're gonna need the center of the circle to write the equation of the circle. So the next thing that we're going to do is, we already have the center. Again, there are 2 important things, the center and the radius. Now we are going to use the second step in order to find for the radius of the circle. So in order that we can find the radius, we will need, radius is the distance from the center to the point on the circle. So pretty much like we already have the center, so the ones that we're gonna need in order to solve for the radius would be the center. So we take the center here. So I'm just gonna go ahead and write 1 and -5. And then we are going to pick one of these endpoints because we already have the center, and again, radius is from the center to any of the points on the circle. So we can pick any of these, it doesn't really matter. So let's just pick the first one here, which is that's gonna be -2 and -5. Again, you can pick the other one. The answer would still be the same. Now, we are going to label this again. This will be our x sub 1, y sub 1, and x sub 2, y sub 2. And then we plug this into the distance formula to find the radius. So we're looking for the distance between the center and one of the endpoints of the diameter. So in this equation, we plug these values in. So we start with x sub 2. X sub 2 is -2 minus x sub 1 is 1 squared. That's plus y sub 2 is -5 minus, that's a -5, and then that's a squared. So remember, we are going to change this to plus, and then we simplify this. So this would come out the square root of -2 minus 1 is a -3 squared plus -5 plus +5 squared is that's a 0, and that's a squared. So pretty much like we have -3 times -3 is +9, and then the 0, we don't have to write that. So pretty much like our radius is actually 3 because the square root of 9 is 3. So we pretty much have the center of the circle and the radius of the circle. So what are we going to do right now is we put them together. So the final equation for this circle would be, again, we plug this in here. Remember, the h and the k is the center of the circle. The r is the radius. So our equation would come out to be, that's going to be x. Since this is a +1, remember, we switch the sign. So if this is a +1, I'm going to go ahead and say that's a -1. And then we square it. So this is x minus 1 squared. And then I wrote y plus 5 because since this is a -5, again, we remember it's switch and switch. So I switch the -5, it turns into a +5, and then I square it. And then we have the radius is 3. 3 squared would be 9. So this is the equation of this circle. Given this condition right here, we were actually given the endpoints of the diameter. Now let's draw this circle in this graph that we have over here, so to better see what is the shape of the circle. Does it really pass through this endpoints? So first we have, it says here that we have the endpoints of the diameter are -2 and -5. So I'm gonna put that in here. So -2 and then -5 would be here. That's the first endpoint. The other endpoint is 4 and -5. So 4 and -5 is right here. So that's the other endpoint. And so if we are going to draw this again, this is the diameter. So diameter means that the distance from one end to the other end of the circle passing through the center. So going through this equation that we have here, the center of the circle is +1 and -5. So +1 and -5. So you see the center of the circle is actually in the middle of the diameter, because the diameter is it's a line segment that is drawn from one end to the other end, passing through the center, which is the center is the midpoint. And then it says here that so we already have the center. That's +1 and -5. And then we are supposed to draw the circle with the radius of 3. So that's going to be 3 up, down, left, and right. So that would be 1, 2, 3 up, and then 1, 2, 3 down. So then I can go ahead and draw this circle right here. So this is the shape of the circle. And this circle actually satisfies the condition that we have over here, that the endpoints of the diameter are these two red dots. And then we did all this steps in step 1, and we got the center, which is 5 and -1. And then we did the second step to find the radius, and the radius was 3. And so as you can see, these are the this red line here is the diameter of the circle. That's it. If you find this video helpful, hit like and subscribe for more math videos. See ya!